Welcome back. I was just looking at the best and the worst performing IPOs, Prashant, of 2022. The best one is Adani Wilmar. It's given a return of more than 160%. The issue price for Adani Wilmar was 230. The stock is now at 620. So that's a return of 160%. And one of the worst performing IPOs has been Delivery. It was a large IPO. The issue price for Delivery was 487. And as we speak, the stock price is languishing around 330. So that's been a decline of close to about 30%. So Adani Wilmar, one of the best performing IPOs of 2022 with a return of 160%. And on the downside, it's been Delivery, down 30% from its issue price. And that's been one of the worst performing IPOs. And then there are many others, but they're smaller in size. Like Hariom Pipes has been a good performer. Hariom Pipes is trading at a premium of about 130% to its issue price. But again, smaller in size. Amongst the big ones, these are the two that stand out on the way up and on the way down. Prakash, any thoughts on Adani Wilmar or Delivery from here on?
So I probably didn't get Adani Wilmar right. I thought it was expensive at the time of issuance itself, but then of course the market probably is wiser enough to figure out the valuations. On Delivery, I think at the current market price, it has started offering far better risk reward as compared to what the IPO pricing was for sure. Not just because it's 35% down, but it also has very clearly upgraded itself into a space in the marketplace in a very significant way with superior pricing power. It's just that it's going through a phase of very stagnant growth at this point in time. But as things look up and e-commerce comes back in terms of scale for some of the larger players who have shrunk their books, things will be very different for this player, I'm sure. And then they are getting much more efficiency built into the system. So I wouldn't be surprised if it actually outperforms the peers from the IPO space, the listed space now. But it'll probably take a while. But it's definitely a long-term bet, good long-term bet, and I'm quite positive.
Prakash, you track Astra Microwave. It's a small-cap defense name.
Yes.
In August of this year, it hit a high of some 365. Then saw a sharp correction to about 250 or so. Today it's coming up some 9.5%. Any thoughts?
So, Prashant, I remember tracking this company even before defense became a buzzword of sort, and this was the only company making VSATs, in years of it's something which has been around for a long time. Hasn't really done anything very spectacular. The reason why some of these companies get very difficult to invest from a long-term perspective is there's very limited float, and every time you buy into it and something goes wrong, you'll probably lose out on a lot of market value just because of that low float issue. But having said that, there's a huge trickle-down effect in the defense space that I'm observing now from companies that actually are not the mainstream frontline large businesses. They're not the government-owned HLs, BDLs, BELs of the world, but they are companies that have started seeing order flow from these larger players. So that's going to be an interesting space to watch, including this. So, you have Axicators and you have Astra Micro and you have Zentech. There's lots brewing in that space, Prashant. But a couple of quarters down the line, you will start seeing that salience emerge in the numbers. So wait for that. But it's, you probably picked up the right space, if not the right stock at this point in time. But this is going to be quite an interesting area going forward in the next year.
Anything else you've picked up interesting when you do your channel checks, speak to dealers across sectors that you would like to highlight?
So I think 2023 is going to be a liberal spend, a last hurrah of sort by the government, Rima, for sure, on infrastructure, and infrastructure that matters to people, just to kind of make sure that before they go to vote in 24, they've kind of seen the fruits of all that labor and effort by the government. And two areas that I would look at and I've started looking at very positively. One is the road infrastructure. I think it's going to go through a major significant overhaul. It also ties in with this whole objective of the government to make itself create this ease of business as far as logistics go. So there's administrative cost and physical cost. So the logistics side is actually rendering us quite uncompetitive on the export side. So that will have to be looked at. And the road infrastructure is definitely something which you could look at. And the second is going to be utilities which impact people. So water, drainage, sewage. I mean, there's lots of that. out there. So you had Iron Exchange, for example, the other day talking about such robust numbers on the order book, the visibility. So you have lots of pipe companies. You mentioned Hariom Pipes. One of the reasons why it's doing so well is they're far better in terms of order execution than what they promised in the IPO. So it's not surprising that they've done so well post the IPO as well. So you have lots of these businesses that will sparkle going forward. There's lots to choose from. So I think we leave it for another day. But these two pockets or these two themes are probably going to be very promising.
Prakash, New Year plans?
I live in a place where there's always something or the other happening as a party around. So I really don't have the option to plan too much. But yeah, wish you guys a lovely, safe, comfortable New Year. And
which part of the world are you in right now?
Goa.
Bandra or Goa? Where?
I'm in Goa, but not Bandra anymore. I'm in Goa. Yeah.
You should
Fantastic.
change the position. Put a glass wall behind you, and sit next to the
Yes.
towards the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, PCR should allow us to do outdoors shoots. I can get you to see some lovely landscape.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful end to the year and a wonderful beginning to next year. All the best, Prakash. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You guys take care. Yeah.
Thank you.
Aditya Sood is now joining us. He's portfolio manager at Intred PMS. Aditya, great to have you with us here. Thank you very much. So the markets come up nicely and it's practically kind of shaken off the correction that it saw from mid-December all the way to early this week. What's your sense? I mean, is this going to last in the near term or are we to expect more surprises?